In this video, I'm going to demonstrate on how to make a splice using the Scotchcast resin packs in an infinity sprinkler. I've already got one completed here. I'm going to demonstrate on the second set of wires. I've already got about 6 inches of extra wire pulled from up through the canister, up through the cavity. So now I've got enough wire to slightly bend it and tuck it down in once I make the splice. So you always want to make sure you've got enough wire. I've already twisted the conductors together using a pair of Lyman's pliers. Now I'm going to take my wire nut, twist it on. Be careful not to twist too much. Different wire nuts can be a little bit more aggressive and you run the risk of breaking off the wire inside the wire nut. And then I'm going to take my resin pack, my Scotchcast, which was in the bag. I've got it out of the bag right now and I'm actually going to start mixing it. So I'm going to squeeze until the separation breaks, and I'm going to mix this together for about 30 seconds. So I'm going to shut off the video here while I mix it, and I'll be right back. Okay, I've got the Scotchcast resin pack mixed up. I've squeezed all the resin to the bottom. I'm going to cut off the top. A pair of scissors, you can use a razor blade. Now I'm going to make sure the wire is bent down with a slight bend, so the wire nut is facing down. And I'm going to take my resin pack, open it up at the top, and now I'm going to put the wire nut down into the resin pack. I'm actually going to visually look at the wire nut to make sure all that resin has gotten down into the wire nut. Now I find that you can take electrical tape to tie the top of the bag off, or if you can get these small zip ties, they work very well. Put one around it. I'm going to go down about halfway down the bag, zip tie it, tighten it up pretty good, but not real tight, and then I'm going to give it a little squeeze. Make sure the resin is coming out the top starting to come up the bag. That'll make sure all the air pockets are out. And I'm going to make sure it's bottomed out. The wire nut's all the way down to the bottom of the bag. Once I know that for sure, I'm going to hold it and I'm going to pull the zip tie pretty tight to hold it in place. Again, make sure it's bottomed out. Now I've got my connection. I'm going to let this set up for about 15 minutes. During construction, depends on the temperature, how fast these are going to set up. But I'm going to let this set up for about 30 minutes maybe, just to make sure everything's cured, everything's nice and solid, and then I'm going to come back and we'll tuck it down into the sprinkler. Okay, it's been about 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes. It's set up pretty good. I'm going to actually trim off the excess of the zip tie. And then I'm going to take my wires and careful not to kink the wire. Just subtle bends, but I'm just going to bend it down and put it down into the infinity body. Take both wires. Okay, once they're down in there, we can put the lid back on. And I'll just put one screw in right now. And that's it. So I guess the two things to take away is have enough extra wire on top of the infinity that comes out of the infinity, around 6 inches or so. Anything more than about 8 inches is going to be tough to get back down into the infinity body. So 6 to 8 inches worth is great. That way if a splice ever needs to be redone, we've got enough wire. And then also have a little bit of extra wire coiled underneath the body. Depending on the wire you're using, definitely don't want to bring up, this is the parallel style cable. We don't want to bring this part of the wire up into the cavity just because it is so difficult to bend. So we want to have it trimmed back to underneath the sprinkler head, have excess wire underneath the sprinkler head, and then we'll have excess wire inside. So we've got enough wire if anything needs to be done in the future that it can. So that's it. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to your distributor or to your local FSM. Thanks.